What is up, everybody? We are back with another episode of the Big Miller Basketball Show. I'm Nick Winger, joined tonight with my friend here, Nigel Wright.
Hey, Pasa, what's up with it?
What's going on, my man? We had an incredible week of basketball across the state. Everyone did such a phenomenal job hosting. Um, there was for a time to have a lot of negatives. Everybody's focused on the negatives. Um, we are going to shine the light on the positive side of things. The state did an unbelievable job. The fan support, the teams. It was a lot of great basketball, and
Oh
I'm looking
man,
forward to another great weekend to finish it all off.
oh yeah, it was a lot, man. I mean, I think the atmosphere around the state was electric. You had a lot of good games, a lot of buzzer beaters. Eric and Chris, they talked about the girls' side of everything. Today, we're gonna try to shed a light on the boys' side.
Yep. And if you haven't already tuned into the girls' show that took place last night, be sure to do so. There's some great games to talk about there as well. But Eric and Chris touched on it already, and the girls deserve some shine as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing the girl games as well this week. But Nigel and I will focus on the boys. So I guess we can just dive right in, Nigel, into the 6A. This is a game that we've already seen, multiple times this year. Bryant took home the dub. They won the first time by 9, and the second time by 4. What are your thoughts here?
And this is one of the 6A juggernauts, man. This game right here. I think it's going to have everything. From the crowd. Let's talk about the crowd and the fan base first. Central fan base along with Bryant fan base. Those are two phenomenal fan base that always support those guys and kind of will them on the victory. And when you talk about the coaching, I mean, do I need to say any more? You got Coach Lou. You got Coach Abraham, two exceptional coaches, man, that done, showed why this team, their teams are in the spot, they're in time and time again, just from uh, preparation part. And if you want to dive in as far as what the
Yeah,
players, I mean,
yeah. So this game really, we got it all. Really, we have the Division 1 guys that get the headlines. You got CB and
oh yeah,
RJ Young. They're both headed to the next level. But then there's a lot of other people that I think Trey Hope at Central. He's got some Division 1 offers, but that Central team has a lot of 2027 kids that they're getting their attention, their shine. But maybe next year they'll be the guys in the state, and it'll be a
yeah,
great preview of what's to come in the state. This game was played, I guess this was 2 years ago. This was the finals, and Central actually knocked them off. So I bet you Bryant will be looking, for the revenge in the finals. What are your thoughts, Nigel?
yeah, man. Yeah, like I said at first, man, this game had. I think this matchup right here going to have everything. You talked about the 27s, and I want to shed light on some of those players. I had a chance to watch that North Little Rock Central game, and let me tell you, Central, they come to play, man. And Coach, he said it at the showcase better. The guys with them losing Clay early and having the chance to go through that, I feel like that team showed a lot of being battle tested. You got the emergence of a lot of those guys that they showed their grit. I like the defensive effort that those guys put on. You had Gavin, you had Dalen Thomas, you had Trey Aline, Trey, Clay, he do what he do, Brandon Wright. Man, all those guys seem like they came to play. And I can't forget about Jamie Dunn and Jaden Slaughter, man. What those guys has brung and emerged at this point. So it, the defensive effort that I saw uh, on Saturday, it was amazing, man. And I feel like they're only going to replicate that, when it comes to playing Bryant. Now, Bryant, Kamarian B, R.J. Young, KD, Abrahamson. And let me tell you something, man. those guys, they are battle tested. They won it last year. That the experience, I seen them deal with a lot of pressure, a lot of defensive pressure, and those guys time and time again show why they are considered the number one team in the state. And I feel like when you come into this game, you got to be able to be hitting on all cylinders if you plan on beating a team like Bryant, especially with the two-headed monster R.J. Young and Marion B.
Yeah, Brian's a team that you have to hit tough shots to beat them for sure, and I think Central is capable of doing that. I know when they played earlier in this year, you touched on it earlier. They battled some injuries,
Yeah,
so Central's playing really really well at the right time. So
yeah,
it's I don't know. I'm looking forward to this game. Both teams bring a lot of different things. I don't know. It'll be a really exciting matchup, and it'll be, I guess, the final game of the season. That's the night game. I guess
yeah.
that's 7:30 on Saturday.
It's gonna be jam packed. I guarantee it. It's gonna be
Yeah,
jam packed. Yeah, that game is gonna bring them out for sure. So listen. So I want to ask you this. Uh, with Bryant being the team that has that experience, and with Central being as young as they are and not only experienced but as battle tested, do you think that they will the light will be too bright or for Central? Or do you think that those guys will show up like they have, especially like during the matchup?
no, I don't think the light's going to be too bright for them at all. I think as a program, you think of historic programs, and we're going to touch on some more of them as this episode goes on. But I mean, as a program, the light's never too bright for Central because the light's always on Central.
Yeah,
They're one of the most historic programs in the state. The history speaks for itself, and if anything, Bryant, they've had their success the last couple years, and a lot of people look at Bryant as like the favorites and whatnot. But I mean, no, the light. I don't think the light's too bright for Central. They have the talent, they have the seniors, they have the leadership, they have the young guys. Central has it all. Bryant's got it all. No,
yeah.
I don't think the lights are too bright at all. If anything, and granted, the Bryant's been there the last couple of years, but no, I mean, if anything, the lights. I mean, if you had to shine the light on either one of these teams, Bryant's been there, but as a program, they're still kind of new to this thing. Central's been there.
Yeah.
Coach A's been there. Sammy, Coach Lewis coached as an assistant under Ross the year they knocked off Bryant, I believe, and then he took over as the head coach the following year. But I mean, I think both staffs have experience in that title game, so no, I'm not too worried about the lights being too bright. I think it's going to be a great game.
I agree wholeheartedly. I feel like it's going to be one of those games, like you said. The first game they won by 9, the last game they won by 4. I
Yeah,
mean,
that margin just keeps getting closer and closer as
yeah,
Central gets healthier and healthier and comes together a little bit more. I think that's been a problem with Central
great.
throughout the year is being together. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know.
hey
They're
man,
coming together and they're playing right at the right time.
yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
me too.
Let's move to the 5A, Marion and Parkview.
Yeah,
The first game, the 6A game, Central and Bryant, that had featured two coaches that, like I said, that had been there. Marion and Parkview, in terms of a head coach's career, neither one of these coaches have been there. So you asked the question about the lights being too bright for Central. I'm curious if the lights are too bright for either one of these teams because neither one of these teams have been there before. At least the players that are on the team. The teams have been there, obviously. I'm
right.
curious what your thoughts are.
Well, so you made a great point as far as with the coaches or whatnot, and have they been there? And will the lights be too bright? Those coaches, I feel like those two top notch coaches right there, with the emergence of Jason Harrison stepping into the helm and leading that team. I think they was the year before. I think they was like 5 or something, 5, and um, I don't want to get it wrong, but I think it was like 5 or 4 games they won or something like that. And just to turn around come back and win 20+ games, and now you're in the championship talk. So I feel like that right there speaks volumes within itself. You know what I mean? You ask, well, will they be ready for the lights? I think the lights is already there. Especially you have a 4-star kid with Lanier coming through, being able to impact that team the way he does, and then you have Kobe Bell as a senior leader that's on the team. I seen him step up defensively over the tournament. Saw him do an amazing job in that game. And then you got Aiden Hansberry. I mean, those guys, the leadership, those guys. I think they have been through all the adversity. Kobe Bell, he bounced back from a major injury. Aiden Hansberry, he bounced back from a major injury, and I think just being battle tested, man. And I had texted and I had tweeted out something about just watching those guys being able to battle back. It's something to admire. You see somebody come back. Some people you see, they be all down on themselves, and they don't be the same. It seemed like these guys bounced back and came back with a fire, and I think that has helped push and motivate their team right along with the leadership of Lanier and his impact of the team. And what Coach Jason said at the Big Miller Media Days, there's no more easy wins. There's no more easy wins, and I think he meant that, and it shows that team has responded just to his you know to his motivation. So when you talk about Marion, those guys been in the mix every year. Do you think that the lights is too big for them? No, the lights always been on them, just like you said with Central. Everybody, every year, you always say, man, Marion is the team. Marion is the team to beat. Marion is the team to beat. This year, I feel like they know that this is their chance. Chandler Randall, you got Jaden, Neal, those guys leading the way. I feel like they feel like this is their year. This is their time. The moment is not too big. They want it. Just look at the job they did on Farmington, the way those guys responded there. So, yeah, man, the light's not too big for either program. I feel like this team right here, they're hungry. Those two teams, they're hungry. They haven't been in it. They're hungry for it. So this is going to be a great game to watch. This another game I feel like is going to be packed.
Yeah, it'll definitely be packed, and it'll be on Saturday as well. So all Saturday long, you'll have great games on the girls' side in 5A. You get Eastern McCullough versus Mountain Home. Mountain Home had a girl that went for a 20-20 game. So there's talent in the girls' game that'll bring people. You
Oh, yeah.
have talent in the boys' game, obviously with Marion and Parkview, and then at night you have Harbor versus North Little Rock, two of the best girls programs overall, and then you get Central and Bryant. So, and then in between, you can go, hang out over at Oaklawn or do whatever. There's plenty of things to do in Hot Springs. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think the fans will stick around for sure and watch
Oh, yeah.
all four of those games. Really, I'm really excited to be there and watch them myself. I guess earlier I touched on neither of the coaches being there before, and I kind of got to thinking as you were talking. I think Sammy has been there as he was in as an assistant under Swift at Jonesboro,
Yeah.
and Coach Swole, Coach Harrison, he's been in a lot of big games as well. As a player, his times over the years, and as a coach. So I mean, the stage isn't too big for either one of these teams, and you're absolutely right. By the way you said it, I'm really excited to see, and I think both of these teams have unbelievable duos, right? I think both of them, like you said, Hansberry Lanier, Chandler Randall, and Jalen Neal. I think they, in a way, almost mark themselves like cancel themselves out. I'm really excited to see the supporting cast on both of them because I think that's where the game's going to be played at. I really, you touched on the guys at Parkview, but Marion has a great supporting cast as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's just going to be kind of like what we've been talking about. Is the stage too bright for those role players, and to see which ones will step up on the big stage? We know it's tough to shoot in Bank OZK Arena, a lot of those kids aren't used to the depth and
Oh
maybe the
yeah,
darkness behind it, and maybe the walls and whatnot. Um, so I'm excited to see, which I think the games for all of these will probably be played inside.
oh yeah,
Um, and both of these teams are great getting to the rim and finishing around the rim. So I'm looking forward to it.
man. You made a great point, and I meant to say this um, to some of the teams that I saw play last year in that facility. Listen, if all the coaches and teams, if y'all are watching, if y'all are listening now, I think this is my opinion. I think you do well to go get a shoot around early in that gym or in that facility, just so you can get used to that depth perception up in there. It's tricky if you never shot in a place to where you don't have a background to where you're able to you know get that judgment on the depth. It can be tricky in some cases. So I think it's a good idea to get in there early, maybe do some shoot arounds if they allow you to do that. I
They do.
think
They give
I
they give they give a practice window. I
okay,
think
well,
I think every team gets an hour, and I think they all take advantage of that because I think everyone's aware of the struggles shooting the ball in that arena.
well, I know last year I talked
I
with
think
some.
a lot of it too. I mean, the walls definitely play a role in the depth, but I think a lot of it too is just the nerves. To be honest with you,
Well, yeah, of course that, but man, a shooter, they know what I'm talking about. A shooter has to get that. They like that certain look. You know what I mean? They say you can shoot in all places if you're a shooter, but it's something about that depth perception, man, that gets you. But get in there, man, early and get them shots up.
let's turn the page to the 4A. You got Little Rock Hall and Parkview. I feel like a
Yeah.
gnat or something flying around here.
No,
Little Rock Hall and Parkview.
Mills,
Um,
Little Rock Hall and Mills.
Yeah, sorry. I got my Little Rock teams mixed up. Yeah, same thing. I guess all the Little Rock schools are playing together. Little Rock Mills and Little Rock Hall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we saw both of these teams down there in Heber Springs during
yeah.
the and both teams, I feel like they have hit their peak at this point. I think they're playing on all cylinders. I think that the coaches have these teams fired up. Mills gonna come in ready. Hall, they have a chip on their shoulder that I feel like they feel like this is the last hoorah. So they want to bring it home. So I feel like both teams are 1-1. I don't know if they're 1-1 or
No,
two
it's 2-1.
two and
So
one.
it was 1-1 going into the
Okay.
regional final. So
Yeah,
Little Rock Hall won the conference finals.
yeah,
Mills won the regional finals, and
yeah.
then I guess this is the fourth game of the series. So
So, I mean, we know Hall can win one. We know Mills can win it. So, I guess it's going to go down to who wanted the most. Coaching going to play a big factor. I feel like it's going to be a lot of adjustments being made in this game. It's going to be a lot of chippiness in this game, and don't be surprised if you see this game get to the point where the fouls might play a part in it due to the physicality of the game. So hopefully that the fouls stay, in check to where, everybody can have a chance to do what they need to do and we be able to see a great game. But two-story programs, two Hall of Fame coaches, that's going to be in the building and they're going to be mixing it up, man. Talk about the matchups and how you think the matchups might play a part.
yeah, I think you touched on the fouls, and I want to say that before we go too far away from it. I think if it turns into a foul game, I think it's Mills to lose. Hall doesn't have the deepest bench, so you touched on you asked about the matchups. I think from a guard standpoint, I think they match up fairly well. I think both of them have really really good guards for the 4A level. I think honestly, now that I think about it, actually, in terms of guards, they might have the best backcourt in all of 4A between these two teams. So guard wise, they match up really well. In the
Yeah.
front court, Hester will have to step up big. Now, Anthony Hester, the Arkansas State signing, he didn't play the one game that Hall did win.
Okay.
So there's an advantage there for Hall with Tristan Janke with the size. If Hester without Hester, he did play in the regional finals, and they got it done. I'll be curious to see how Hall can manage that. I think to beat either one of these teams, honestly, to beat Mills or to beat Hall, you have to be a tough shot maker,
Yeah.
and I think that kind of comes from that Little Rock type of basketball player, if you know what I mean. Um, if you got, like, we touch on this at the media days a lot, and I pointed out different players, and there's something about just a Little Rock basketball player, and both of these teams have that. I think they match up really well. Somebody I haven't touched on is Landon Hill, and I think he is the X factor for Little Rock Hall. If Landon Hill's hitting his tough shots and being that X factor, I kind of like Hall's chances. Now, but the thing is with Landon, he has to go. I mean, if he's the passive player that he can sometimes turn into, there might be some trouble then.
Yeah, and remember, I don't know if you remember on the episode, I told you about Landon. I said, man, if Lando can do what I know he can do, he can be a major factor. I have seen him do it time and time again. I just want him to be consistent on that nature, because right after that live stream, I think he put up 32. I don't know if he saw the live stream, but he went and put up 32 points after that. So he's going to have to replicate that, or if not replicate it, but give something to that nature and do a performance, something like that. If I feel like if Hall planned on being the contender, because one thing I know about Coop, he's going to take away what you do best. If you shoot it, he's going to take that away from you. If you bang it on the inside, he's going to bang. He's going to do what he need to do to take the big out of there. If you're a team that like to run, he gonna run with you. You're gonna see who gonna run the fastest. So if you're gonna have to be able to adjust when you go up against a team like Mills. And we got to talk about that those supporting staff, coaching staff that Mills and Hall have. Those coaches that's on the sidelines help coaching those players up. On the sideline, we can't forget about them and the role that plays in a chippy game. Similar to what I think we're going to see come championship Saturday. I mean,
This
what
will
is that?
be Friday night. This is the
Friday.
Friday night game.
Championship
Yeah,
Friday. Yeah.
I similar to the Central Bryant game. Both of these coaches have been there, so I'm looking forward. The experience in these games definitely play a role. Both of these programs have been so good, over the last, you know, 15, 20 years. They're always in the mix, it seems like. You look at just like the alumni that comes through both of these programs. Hall historically probably has the edge, but in the last 20 years, there's guys on both sides, and I don't know. I'm really excited to see who that next guy is for both of them. I'm looking forward to Hall's Micah Moore. He hit some big shots all state tournament long. I think what really does him well, he doesn't turn the ball over much, and I hope I'm not jinxing him when I say this, but he makes the tough shots. I think Coach Coleman's good at running the clock down, and Micah seems to just be there at the right time to knock down that timely shot. I've watched them a lot the last couple of weeks, and honestly, I've watched both of these teams a lot the last couple of weeks, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Hall versus Mills Part 4.
And that's what I was talking about. You talked about those adjustments, and I mean, this game it's gonna go down. It's gonna be a chess match out there, man. I think whoever shoots the ball well from behind the three and be able to knock down those timely free throws, I think that's going to play a big part. But the fouls, I just think it's going to be real chippy in those fouls, man. And you got to knock down those free throws. If you don't hit those free throws, it's going to be a tough day on the court that day. So yeah.
So we're gonna move to the 3A, and we got a battle of Newport and Osceola. So I know a lot of me and you, we're both Little Rock guys. I moved to Northeast Arkansas this past year, but I'm at heart I'm still a Central Arkansas guy, and I think a lot of our following comes from the Central Arkansas. So I don't want to pretend, that we're just just an end all be all know it all on either one of these teams.
Oh
But
no.
to my credit, I know enough about these two teams to know what to expect.
Yeah.
And for the people in Little Rock that maybe doesn't know about Osceola and Newport, think of a Marion, a West Memphis, a team out this way that you know what to expect every night. They play hard. It's that blue collar. Even a Jonesboro, for example, Nettleton. You know what to expect from those teams, and it's the same way with Osceola and Newport. It's like I said, it's the blue collar mindset. These teams are super familiar with one another. This will be their. And I checked this, and it seems like this is wrong, but this will be their fifth time playing this year. And I don't want to misquote this. Newport's 36-3 this season, and their three losses came to Osceola.
Yeah.
So both of these teams are really familiar with each other. These kids grew up with each other. I'm excited for it. It's a Northeast Arkansas battle.
Yeah, man. I haven't seen much of Newport, but I've been following much as I can, considering they are back that way. But Osceola, I did have a chance to watch them play a few games. That was at the Running Brogdon Invitational up in Highland. I had a chance to watch them play. They played a team out of Memphis, and another squad another solid squad. But let me tell you something. Uh, this Osceola team, they are nothing to play with. They are for real. And they keep making it back to the championship game for a reason. And one, I think, is because of the coaching. And not only that, but I think the buy-in that these guys that they exhibit each game, day in, day, whether they in the game or they out the game, you'll never see them just hang their head or get themselves down on the game, even though in the loss. They always feel like they done learned something from the game. That's what I took from Tyler Bell and MJ Washington, both two-sport athletes. They have offers in football, and I think maybe a couple in basketball. I'm not too for sure on that, but I know these are two guys that are tough. They come to play. And there are excellent leaders on that team, and it shows year in and year out. Going back from last year, the championship run from last year, the championship run, you know, before that, I just think that this team is one that's poised to be in big games like this. I don't think the stage is never too big for them. I think that this team is always in a fight, even when it seems like they're out. So be on the lookout for on those guys to show why that championship, pedigree is for real with Osceola.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious. We have some Osceola people. It looks like in the comments here on Facebook, and they confirmed that Osceola is 3-1 against Newport. The one Newport's one win came by 1 point on January 20th. I'm curious, and this goes for all of the games. I should have said this earlier on. Some of these kids, that maybe a lot of people the state might not be familiar with, but you are. We're curious if you want to drop some names for us to kind of keep an eye out for on, I guess this is Friday, or for the state to look out for. I know we have Travarius Hardaway. He's a sophomore for Newport. Justin Russell, his size is going to play a big role. I'm looking forward to the game.
Yeah, man. Newport scrappy, dog. Like I said, I haven't seen too much of, but I saw enough. I feel like, but they're a scrappy squad, man. And going up against a team like Osceola, I just feel like it's gonna be a dogfight. Like you said, they 3-1. Yeah, you said they 3-1. Now, if they 3-1, just know they got a chip on their shoulder. Newport got a chip on their shoulder, so they're going to get everything, and I think plus more from Newport on championship Friday. Now, the fan base, Osceola, Osceola travels, dog. That fan base is one of the top notch fan bases in the state. I think they travel well, and not only do they travel well, but they are loud and they are animated. And trust me, when I say animated, they are animated. I was at the run in Barton, and they was loud, man. So just know that they're going to show up. They're going to be there. So Osceola, the fan bases that's in the comments, I can't see in the comments, but trust me, they travel, dog.
Yeah, I can see the comments, and Willie Turner. I'm assuming he's an OCL guy. He confirmed that Travarius Hardaway is a dog. He said he's a dog for sure.
Yeah, man.
You're
Look,
saying here's another guy on from Facebook saying, yeah, we definitely travel. I know. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see the fans. I'm excited for the game itself. It should be a great game. Like I said before, but all these teams are really familiar with each other. Usually, when teams are familiar with each other, it usually turns into a great game, a good
yeah.
rivalry. And I want to, before we turn the page on this game, I want to Chris Hudson. He's a Northeast Arkansas news guy. He posted a clip of Osceola, and I think it was Rivercrest. Yep.
Chris. Yeah.
They were picking each other up after the game. They're huge rivals. They're like 10 minutes apart, and it showed a positive light on the state of Arkansas in a time across high school basketball where you thought maybe it needed it, and it was nice and refreshing to see that. We're about to turn the page to maybe a not so refreshing part of the weekend.
Well, before we turn the page, I want to hit on that because that just shows you the leadership what I was talking about with those guys from Osceola, man. And in those pictures, you saw MJ Washington, you saw Tyler Bell, and I feel like those are some of the guys that kind of, like I said, they've been there. They done that. They are excellent leaders for their team, and I think they set this team up to be successful. Even during times, like I said, in times of battle, when they're down, when they're up, they always seem to have that poise. So that will play a big part when times get hard, even if it gets hard.
And I know we shine the light on them, but I mean, for the majority, most of the state, I feel like can probably be lumped into that spotlight, that shine of picking each other up, being mature and handling a loss the way a loss should be handled. I don't know. It was refreshing to see that come across I think it was my Twitter timeline that I saw it first, and then I seen it on Facebook and Instagram. It was really, really nice to see, and I see it all the time, and it's one of those things you kind of look past, but at a time like that, it was one of those things that it was really good to see.
Right.
Let's slide over to 2A. We got Mount Vernon, Enola, and Barton. This was the regional final a few weeks ago. We had Mount Vernon, Enola actually beat Barton. I think Barton's a team that even before this weekend when they got so much publicity. It's a smaller school that tends to get a lot more shine than most other small schools for whatever reason. And maybe the highlights, I'm not sure, but I mean, even the girls' side, I guess it helps when you're scoring, 80 points a game or whatever that she tends to do, night in and night out. But Barton gets a lot of publicity compared to other 2A schools, and Mount Vernon and Enola is a team that doesn't get that, and they actually beat them not that long ago. Mount Vernon Nola's riding an 11-game win streak. They're hot, and I mean, me and Vic touched on this a lot throughout our preview or our recap shows throughout the week. And you're scrolling through the games, and you just see another win for Mount Vernon and Enola.
Yeah, and that's a team, man. Like I said, they don't get a lot of recognition, but I think that's what makes them go. For them not to get that recognition, they always come in the game with a chip on their shoulder. And I think coming into this game, it'll be another chip on their shoulder, considering that Barton, like you said, they are one of the ones that kind of get some that get more publicity, so to speak. But Coach Williams, he does a great job of pubbing those guys out, putting them in positions to always be successful, man, and always, producing that product on the court. You got Christian Williams. That young man. He's one of the most athletic players that's here in the state, and he can dunk that ball and get up high, and not only dunk it but be able to shoot it as well. He's one of those guys that he can bring that light to the team, and sometimes he can be in the highlights for ESPN type of play, and I think that's one of the reasons why they get that look and that shine. And not only that, but their girls program is top notch. So both of those programs being able to be in the mix and being a light, I feel like that's what get a lot of that attention. And like I said, man, Coach Williams, he does a great job. I always see him promoting out the players, pushing the players. He even contacted me about, making, getting some coaches to lay some eyes on some of the guys. So he does a very good job of making sure we, the media, know about those guys and able to see what they are doing, to follow them. So he does a great job with that.
Yeah, we really appreciate when coaches do that. They'll message us on Instagram and whatnot, and it helps us a lot with our coverage across the state of Arkansas, because we can only be at so many places at once and see so many things at a time. So it really helps, having people on the ground helping us, shine lights that we can, maybe shine a little bit brighter with some direction.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to this game. Mount Vernon and Enola, they had a tougher schedule. They played East End and Fountain Lake and some other tougher teams. They may have lost, but it prepared them really well, and they're hot at the right time. Like I said, 11-game win streak. They beat Barton in the regional finals, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I see both games. I mean, both teams, and I want to say that in this game, whoever shoots the ball well from the perimeter, I think the middle. I think they're gonna stop that inside game, all that penetrating. That I know Barton likes to get in there, get inside the paint, get to the foul line. I think this game might be won behind the 3-point line. Whoever can knock down the threes, whoever be consistent behind the arc. I think it might come down to that. But both teams, man, you got to take your hat off to them. Though they have survived the gauntlet, and not only the gauntlet, but just the overall pressures. What's expected of them, considering they are the teams to beat in the classification.
Let's slide. So I'm noticing a trend here throughout all of the games, right? A lot of these teams have already played. They're really familiar with one another. And this is another regional game where, granted, they haven't played this year, Earle and Clarendon in the 1A, but it's just more teams that are probably familiar with each other. And I'll be honest with you, we've covered Clarendon a few times in the recap shows, and everybody I've talked to, it seems like Clarendon's kind of one of these mystery teams. Nobody really knows a lot about them. I myself don't know a lot about them. I'm excited for it. I'm ready to see a new team. It's kind of a breath of fresh air. I know this is a basketball show, so to say, but Clarendon, they had a tough go with football, with different things off the field that were out of their control. It's exciting to see for this community to be put on this stage. They had a really good season. They went 22-5 this year, including a win over Stuttgart, like a 4A, a higher classification team. They're riding a 9-game win streak, but they run into Earle, and Earle's another one of those teams similar to Barton in the 2A that, for whatever reason, they get a lot more shine than a lot of other smaller programs. And it's another program that has a really good boys and a really good girls program. Talk about Earle a little bit, Nigel.
So, Earle, you got to look at, like I said, you got to look at their program, man. And the girls and the boys are doing well. And Earle always be in the mix in the end as well. So, they're another program that has that experience. So, you got to look at the championship run they made. And you got to look at what Coach Miller do. And I mean, what Coach Miller does with that team. he always coached those guys up. Even at the big Miller media days, he always he put a lot of emphasis on the team being together and the team being tough, and how just making sure that those guys are always locked in. So when you look at what Earle is doing now, it's no reason why you wouldn't say that they come into this game, ready to play. So Teron Hurst, he's one of those guys that's leading the pack, and to help push what Coach Miller has put out there for those guys. I think he's an extension of the coach. When it comes down to leadership, I think he kind of rallies that team together, and being able to just show what that toughness is really about. I mean, it's a sight to see once you see Earle play, and you'll see why they back in the position that they're in now.
I'm curious, Nigel, and you gave a good recap on these teams, and um, with Barton and Earle, we touched on them getting, a little bit more of a shine than the usual small school, so to say. What advice would you give to a small school to maybe get their name out and maybe get them some more publicity throughout the course of the year?
So I'm a big fan of reaching out to the media, man, being able to uh, let us know, because like I said, we can't get to places all the time, but being able to reach out and just share some light on some of those players, man. Just if your player, if you got a couple players that they did good for that night, or you just want to talk about your program, man, reach out and give us some insight on what's going on. That's for one. I think that'll help a lot. Just reaching out to the media, being able to have access to some of these platforms to help put some shine out there. So that's one. Number two, I think being able to get into the camps, being able to get into the showcases. We have a few showcases that's going to come about this year, but being able to get in those, man, and get some of that exposure for your program. Yeah, I know a lot of teams are traditional. They feel like, well, we play good. We gonna get the light, which typically is what happens. But sometimes it takes for you to get that extra push. And I know coaches, sometimes they're locked in their own ways, but you got to transition from the older times into the new times, and the new times say, hey, you got to put that leg work in to help get your program out there a little bit more. So that's two. And the last thing I would have to say, uh, get on social media. Get on social media. Get a social media team together to where you can you can put graphics out. You can put your players out. You can put who. And I think there's a lot of programs that's flying under the radar is because they don't do that. And if you had a social media presence to where you're putting out graphics, you're putting out information, you're putting out stats, you're putting out what you're doing, where you're going, who you're playing, time you're playing. I think that does wonders for your program if you're able to do that. And if you're not just one of those programs um, that has the presence, far as like Barton, you got two both girls and boys teams is doing well. Earle, both girls and boys teams doing well. If you don't have something like that to kind of keep the ball rolling or keep the ball in play, I think it kind of flies under the radar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. You talk so much there. I don't have much else to say about it.
Yeah, that's the remedy, man. That's the recipe in my book. You gotta get on social media. You gotta have that social media presence for your program.
So we previewed all 6 games. We can't wait to hop on next Monday and review look at some of the performances that we saw in the state finals in Hot Springs. I'm looking forward to talking again with you, Nigel, and I can't wait to watch some good ball and see you this weekend.
Yeah, man. And before we go, I do want to say, hey, listen, you all, get on social media, Instagram, YouTube. Get on Instagram, YouTube, follow Big Miller Events. Um, Kevin Miller, this guy played an exceptional role. I mean, he played a important role for the state. Now he did an exceptional job of help covering the state. So we're just trying to keep his memory alive and keep what he envisioned going. So get on Big Miller on Instagram, YouTube. Follow Big Miller Events. Hey, we got some big things popping for 2026.